So this is Jenny Brady. My environmental and cultural factors presentation is on those afflicted with eating disorders. For the cultural environment with the media, obviously there is a great input from media on what body image should look like, and it comes from every outside and internal influence, be it family, peers, and social media. And there is obviously a pressure to emulate what the ideal image looks like. And I like what this quote said: pressure to emulate the Western body ideal, ultra thin for women and muscular for men, comes from parents, friends, and the media, and it just leads to elevated body dysfunction amongst it's everywhere, and leads to elevated body dysfunction among any environment, really. Those with anorexia, there's obviously that push for individuals to be viewed as thin is associated with being happy, successful, or beautiful. Obviously, we're continually surrounded by social media, and that is pushed on individuals all the time. And then those with eating disorders tend to compare themselves to others, and it often deepens the disorder, and they may feel as those with the disorder are lagging behind others, which leads to deepening anorexia. Those with obesity, society has placed a much greater emphasis on individual factors such as excessive food intake, lack of physical exercise, and more recently genetics than on societal factors such as the marketing of low cost, unhealthy food. And so what we should be emphasizing with those who suffer with obesity is eating healthier foods, whereas right now low cost unhealthy food is easily accessible to these individuals. We also, within the media, we have advertised continually weight loss supplements, programs, support groups are advertised on every social media platform. It's and so there's not only the push for those with obesity to lose weight, but it's marketed everywhere to help them with that. Family support, those with anorexia, family support is critical in helping these individuals begin to feel healthy and helping them obtain their goals. Interventions including a family meal, family meal time were devised to enhance parental authority, challenge inappropriate alignments between children and parental figures, and encourage sibling subsystem development. And so having a strong support group is really key to helping these individuals with anorexia get the help that they needed. We need to, once the patient is eating better and has gained weight to near normal levels, the therapist needs to assist the family in returning control of eating back to the adolescent. Under parental guidance, the adolescent typically, although gradually, establishes an age-appropriate level of independence around food and other weight-related issues. The family support is really key in helping these individuals. Obviously, there's a strain on relationships with those with an eating disorder, but getting those relationships back is key to helping the individual. Same with obesity. Family can be a central key in assisting those with obesity to lose weight. Obviously, the family provides many opportunities to address positive health changes throughout childhood and into adulthood, and the family is the beginning and primary source of education for youth. We learn our healthy habits such as exercising, meal planning, and food options. All those begin within the home. And family life is very much centered around food, and be it for good or for bad, that is where a lot of individuals' ideals on food come to be. Cultural environment, the role of peers, friendship among young people with anorexia. It provides a source of identification and support, but it also can lead to comparisons, which may lead to further guilt, competition, distress, and the adoption of more or other destructive behaviors. Obviously, we need good peers as well as family support in helping these individuals overcome these disorders. With obesity, the obesity may spread through social network effects, potential mechanisms by which this may occur, including that having obese peers may change a person's tolerance for being obese, or may influence weight-related behaviors such as eating habits, smoking, or exercise. So if you hang out with individuals who tend to eat the same foods that you do, or tend to lack the exercise that you do, these are where these habits can develop. The cyclic nature of anorexia. For some, it's just a brief episode in their life from which they fully recover. However, many people, such a disorder is a varyingly troublesome part of their life over many years, and their symptoms may come and go, and it may also change throughout the years. For some, it can be a truly lifelong affliction. Um, and then, just like where family is such a key in our education with food in the beginning, rigid and implicit beliefs are transmitted from one generation to the next and have a highly constraining effect on all family members. So these are mother passed down to daughter or father to daughter. However, daughters are vulnerable to the symptoms of anorexia nervosa, but not only daughters, all family members are susceptible. Obesity, again, it all starts within the home, family, socioeconomic status and structure, parental weight, and parental knowledge about nutrition and appropriate weight to adolescents' weight. Children whose parents have a greater knowledge about nutrition and a more accurate assessment of their own weight status are less likely to be overweight. Habits learned in childhood are likely to continue throughout adulthood. The legal political system, those with anorexia nervosa or bulimia are reported to cling more tenaciously to their problem behavior than any other group of mentally disordered people. And so as a result, these individuals tend to resist treatment and help from their disorder. And so this is where it becomes difficult. Because those seeking to help these individuals, be it from anorexia or obesity, are often conflicted with allowing the individual's personal freedom and choices to treat them medically. So, and then the law obviously tends to side with the individual's right for personal freedom and choices. Cultural potential barriers. So, women from ethnically diverse backgrounds are less likely to seek help than other women. And these women tend to be underdiagnosed and not treated. So, and then getting treatment is, of course, expensive, and all insurances cover costs, require tremendous time commitment to break the cycle. Within religion, stress and anxiety are linked to higher body weights among individuals. Religion is a mean through which some people counter and cope with stress, and it may decrease body weight through help with them coping with their stress. And then obviously components of religious theology may also discourage obesity. Many religions teach that the body is something sacred, something spiritual, and that you are an image of God. And so discouragement of obesity, and so individuals who struggle with obesity may have a hard time feeling like they belong somewhere within a religion. The international scope, anorexia nervosa, bulimia, and binge eating, and as well as obesity, know no cultural, region, religion, or socioeconomic or educational barriers. They affect everyone. Obviously, we now know obesity is now a global epidemic. Health disparities, the socioeconomic status. Obviously, anorexia can be found anywhere, but those with higher socioeconomic have the means to actually typically help receive treatment due to the expensive cost of receiving treatment. Gender and family income were the strongest predictors of adolescents expressing a desire to be thin. Girls from higher income families were more likely to express a desire to be thin than girls from a lower income family. But obviously, again, those with higher income are able to help their children receive treatment if needed. And within obesity, again, it can be found with any socioeconomic status, but excessive weight can be found in children of all social classes. It tends to be higher among poor children in affluent countries and affluent children in poorer countries. I found that very interesting. Race and ethnicity with anorexia. So when we think about eating disorders, what comes to mind most often are underweight white females, but this stereotype is causing a great number of males and people of color to miss out on getting the proper health care needed. So there's obviously disparities in diagnosis and treatment with males, those of higher weight, people of color, and the non-affluent. Within obesity rates have increased throughout the years, but there has been an alarmingly higher rate among the Hispanic population. Low individual level socioeconomic status, generational status, and acculturation each contribute to this disparity. Health disparities within religion. Within anorexia, fasting for religious purposes has been around for as long as religion has been recorded, and we have many recordings of prophets of old doing so. The clash between young women adopting Western values and their traditional religious conservative families can increase eating disorders. Religious fasting can still trigger symptoms that resemble anorexia nervosa, and those who are recovering from that obviously may have a hard time fasting for their religion due to these disparities. Obesity. Gluttony is the object of disdain in many faiths, and the problem comes when we overfeed ourselves and allow our lust for food to control or harm us. And so those with obesity may struggle with religion because, again, as stated before, many faiths teach that man is an image of God, and they may find difficulty finding similarities between themselves and their God. Health disparities within gender. Anorexia is obviously thought to be more afflict only white women, and there's an embarrassment associated with males seeking help for an eating disorder. And so men are under more pressure to conform to their current physical ideal. Within obesity, more women are obese than men. These gender disparities in overweight and obesity are exacerbated among women in developing countries. And then also within some cultures, though, cultural values favor larger body size among women or men as a sign of fertility, healthfulness, or prosperity. So there's health disparities among men and women, and also among different countries and cultures. The geographical location with anorexia. Western cultures are more associated with having individuals with eating disorders. It has obviously been rising among non-Western countries as well. The increasing globalization and exposure to Western media have been suggested to increase the rate of eating disorders among those non-Western countries. Obesity. I thought this was very interesting. Obviously, those in lower income areas contribute to obesity among all ethnic groups. But the reason for this, one reason I found, was violence is more prevalent in highly segregated Black and Hispanic neighborhoods than in low segregated Black and Hispanic neighborhoods, because obesity rates are significantly higher in violent, socially disordered areas. It's partly due to the stress of residing there and having to stay indoors. They don't want to go outside, so they don't get exercise. They don't have convenience to better stores than white neighborhoods. They also have more convenience to fast food outlets, and then they're also more likely to lack recreational facilities than white neighborhoods. Health disparities. The implicit biases within the eating disorder community depend significantly if the individual does indeed perceive themselves as having an eating disorder. They need to obviously acknowledge that they have an eating disorder and then seek the appropriate treatment. The explicit biases are discrimination with obesity against obese persons is clear across many domains of living, including hiring prejudice in employment, inequities in wage and promotions, and rejection at school. And then with the anorexia and with binge eating, those who are binge eaters tend to have a normal, if not higher, BMI, and so they may not receive the treatment that they need due to this. And then the international scope. Worldwide, those with eating disorders face similar difficulties. One difficulty faced is being correctly diagnosed, and then mental health service utilization was lower among ethnic minority groups than those with non-Latino whites. And those are my references.